Hi everybody, it's Jeanette from Thermogroovers. Today I'm going to be making a recipe out of my cookbook called Egg and Bacon Bites, and I'm also going to be making the gluten-free bulletproof pastry. Now this pastry is amazing. All of the people that tested my recipes before I launched my book, I included some people that were gluten-free and I got them to test this recipe, and 100% success rate for this recipe. So if you're after a gluten-free pastry, this is the bomb. So we're going to make this today, and I'm going to make the filling, which is the egg and bacon bites. And you can either make these with gluten-free pastry or you can make standard bulletproof pastry. The recipes are in my book. If you need a copy of my book, which you don't have, I'll pop the link in the description and you can get yourself a copy of the ebook. So stay with me and we'll get started and make the gluten-free pastry. Okay, so let's get started. Now the gluten-free flour that I use, in the book you'll see that I've got recommended brands of gluten-free flour. So please take note of that before you start making the recipes. Now what we're going to do is put in our ingredients, our dry ingredients, and our, obviously this has got butter in it. And we'll just bring that together so it's like a beautiful, nice, light crumb, just like you would do if you were rubbing flour in butter. Okay, so we've got that mixed through. And there you go. It's a beautiful light crumb. That's the start of a easy pastry. And then we'll put in our wet ingredients and then we'll just set that to knead. So pastry's super easy to make in the Thermomix. It's quicker to make it than it is to actually get a sheet of ready rolled pastry out and defrost it. Okay, we'll bring this together and then we'll tip it out onto the mat and you can see what it looks like. Okay, we've got this ready to turn out onto the mat. It's a beautiful crumb. We'll just turn it upside down and give the blade a bit of a wiggle. Scrape out what you've got in the bottom. Now it's really important that you work with this dough to bring it together, and you need to have some extra flour on hand just to make sure that your dough doesn't become too sticky. And as you work with it, the butter's going to warm up and become a little bit softer. So it's a little bit different working with gluten-free ingredients in comparison to standard flour. Alright, I'll just get those ingredients off there. So you're just bringing it together so that it holds firmly. There we go. So it sort of resembles shortbread biscuit texture, really. That's what it sort of resembles. Okay, we're just going to pop it in the fridge for a little while, and as per the instructions in the book, and then we'll come back and we'll roll that out. Pastry ready to roll out, so we'll just place that there. And what you're aiming for is to get a nice coating of flour over this, just to ensure that there's no sticking on your mat or your surface that you're working on. And then what we're going to do is start gently rolling that out. There we go. I'll just put a little bit more flour on the other side. And then back again. And you'll find that the pastry starts to get this beautiful flow with it. Then once you've got it to that point, you're just going to do your folds and then give it a turn and continue rolling like so. Again, making sure that you've got enough flour on it to prevent it from sticking, but not too much. Then we do another fold. another turn. You can turn this more than 3 times if you want to. In the recipe, I've suggested 3 times, but it's entirely up to you with how many folds that you'd like to do with your pastry. So one more fold, and then we can start rolling it out. And now we can start rolling it out to the size that we're after. And it is very fragile pastry in comparison to using standard flour. So you just have to work very gently with this and be patient. Now you can roll it out very thin and it'll still puff up in the oven. Now I'm not applying a lot of pressure to that. I'm just trying to hold it to the shape that I want to keep it. There we go. I'll put a bit more flour on that. If you get a little tear in it, just bring it all back together again. And just keep working the dough. Now you may get a little bit thin in some areas, so just keep an eye, just like that. I've got a hole there, so I'm just going to fix it like that. And then we can start cutting out our circles. Now these are going to go into a muffin tray, and I've got a cutter that's around about that size. And I'm gently going to cut sections out with my cutter, and then I'll transfer them into the muffin tray. So this makes 24 egg and bacon bites. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And the offcuts of pastry, you bring them together again to get the full quota out of the recipe. So I'm just going to move that to the side so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So you can see there, I'm just going to pick them up and then pop them in the muffin mould. You can use silicone moulds if that's all you have. I find the metal ones seem to bake pastry up a little bit nicer than silicone. Now you can see they're not perfect. You don't have to fuss too much with this. If you get your pastry a little bit thick, well, you can work it up the sides of the muffin tray. Oh, that one's a little bit, well, we might just kick him out. There we go. Replace that with another one. It's very similar to doing Portuguese tarts, if you've ever made those before. There's no need to blind bake this pastry when you're making these little ones. That's one tray. And then what we're going to do is just repeat for the second tray. So bring all your dough back together again, and that'll give you enough pastry to finish doing the 24. there we go, that's the amount of pastry that we have left. So sort of gives you an idea of the thickness. So we could have done the first tray a little bit thicker. Now I have a special little spoon that's the perfect size to fill these. It's one of my little mementos from New Orleans. So I'm just going to take a spoonful and gently place it in the case. And just go around and do all of them. And what you noticed when I put the cases into the muffin tray, I pushed the sides of the pastry up against the mould of the muffin tray, and that's just to stop the egg from flowing over underneath the pastry case. So we just go through and fill these. So these are going to go into a hot oven, and the temperature is written in the ebook as well. So we'll come back and see what they look like after they're finished being baked. So here we have our little egg and bacon bites, and I'm just going to drag them out of the oven and take them out straight away. Don't let them sweat, otherwise the cases will become a little bit sticky. So you can just, this is supposed to be a non-stick muffin tray, so it's giving it a bit of a test. So you can just pull them out. I think what most people that, those people that are gluten-free are absolutely loving this pastry because it doesn't taste like gluten-free pastry, which is wonderful. Great for those people. They miss out on so many delicious things because of their dietary need. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me bring all that together and watching all the rolling. It's evening here and I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I think I might be having quite a few of these for dinner. Anyway, so if you want a copy of my ebook, the link's in the description. If you've already got my ebook, hats off to you guys. You can go ahead and build these with confidence after watching me go through the rolling of the pastry and explaining, you know, the mixing of everything. Be sure to join me on another tutorial because I will be doing tutorials for every recipe in my cookbook to support those people who like to see the recipes come together and watch me build them. So thanks for joining me today. And remember, if someone doesn't give you a smile today, please lend them one of yours. All right, we'll catch you all later, everyone. Bye.